Welcome.
Hello?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday. For me, it's only 10 after 10, so yeah, it's not in-game. Apparently, it's later than that, but I want to say good morning to all my fine friends. Good morning to Yellow and Bob and to James. I think it was. I can't be. Couldn't be. That guy probably went to bed. Nope. Good morning, Yellow, and yes, good morning, Bob. Hope you had a good day.
Greetings.
And hello, fantastic Sherlock Fox. We are hanging out on the vanilla server today just because I needed a bit of a break. As you guys saw yesterday, I was derping it hard, and my brain just was not functioning, which is fine. And this morning I had a tough time getting out of bed, so something's not quite in the shape I'd like it to be. So we're going to take some downtime a little bit and do some of the wall work. So I'm just going to dump a few pieces here and there. Where did I put all my bits and bobs? There we go. All right. What is useful on the wall? That's useful. That one. Nope. No. Oh, maybe. Yeah, that's useful. Not the beds, but the rest of it is. These out. Totally not helpful. Don't need 5 beds. Makes more sense. Okay. Ow. Yep, definitely those. Hope you guys are having good days, or having or had. I don't see any of that. And I'm fairly certain, there we go, fairly certain that I forgot something important. I usually do. But I think we're okay. Where's the other random odds and ends box? Let's put acacia in there, mangrove in there for now. That way. Okay, do I have don't know if I have a crafting table. Let me just see. No, I better take this one just in case. Just in case. So today we switched up. We're still in a holiday list. We switched it up to a list called Jingle Trap. I'm not really sure what trap beats are, per se, but it seemed to work for the day. So I'm just picking up kind of where I left off. Apparently hitting the wall is a good place to start. Let's try this again. Because I thought I had a bed zone up here, but I think I moved it. So we're making our way around the outside edge. And then step 2 after that will be, if we get anywhere near that, will be putting in stairs that come up to these zones, and I don't know where or how they're going to incorporate with the rest of the wall. I'm going to move down a ways and put my stuff down over there, because then it's where I'm going to be when I run out, right? At least that's the theory. Okay, up here looks nice and high. Let's go with that. So we've got a bed and spruce, which I think was for planks. I need those for the wall. Okay, that should be, that should be just about everything. So once again, I've forgotten how I did this. Usually do. Okay, so we've got cobblestone stairs with spruce fencing. Regular bricks. That's dark oak. And then the other part is slabs and fences. Okay. Let's see if I brought what I need. I apparently have been having a weird nervous evening in my sleep. It sounds dumb, but I've chewed myself a canker sore. So to catch me talking kind of funny or making weird faces, it's just because those feel really odd. And my system wants to keep playing with it, even though that's counterproductive. Okay, I'm gonna need some logs. These spruce fences, alright. More logs. Actually, I guess I can't fill everything with the logs because I need to actually have space for some of the brick products. Fences go over there. There's the top stairs. And I didn't bring a stone cutter. That's okay. We'll dig one out somewhere. And then I have these ones going every second. That's what I was working on. Okay. So I was backtracking on... Did I get all the way... Apparently I didn't bring food. Well, that's real smart. Let's see. Do I have... Toolbox. Nope, toolbox. Food. There we go. Right. Do a stone cutter. Perfect. This one I seem to have what I need for now. That's a start. And I guess I should not put a bed in the middle. That's not wise. Alright, let's see what we can do to get this project going before I walk off the wall again. We needed to stone cut some more stairs. Yeah. Where is other blocks? Feels kind of weird that you could walk right over top of the other, like the stone cutter, and it doesn't actually hurt you. It's like a bone saw in a hospital. The other ones with slabs, right? Good. So let's make these other ones into slabs. All right. That should keep us for a little while. Okay, first off, see if we can get Geek Out to actually cooperate this morning.
How can you talk if you haven't got a brain?
Apparently not.
I don't know. But some people without brains do an awful lot of talking, don't they?
You know something? I'm not going to use that iPad thing today. Apparently, that was the bottom corner of my iPad, like widthwise, and I was trying to enable the top corner. Yes, I recognize I just skipped 3. The current one is 4 celebrities who... Okay, skipping that too, because that's ugly. Sorry. Not a way to start. Come on. Let's try that. 2 Best New Artist Grammy Award winners. Okay. Even if you don't know it, that's safer than the other one was. Good grief. Okay, question of the day for now. What were you really into when you were a kid? And are you still into that now? Some people would say things like video gaming. I think, that's a good one. I was not into video games when I was a kid. I mean, I enjoyed them when I was allowed them, but we didn't actually... I wasn't actually allowed a whole lot of video games as a kid. So...
Welcome.
It was kind of interesting how that worked out. Hey, Sachet, how are you doing today? I am, as usual, derping my way through things, but having a blast doing it. And already forgetting what keybinds are different between modded and vanilla-ish for me. So, yeah, a bit of a challenge. Am I gonna see this one? Yes. Where are the stairs? Well, how's your day been, Sachet? Glad to see you. As always. Loving having more members of the community being able to turn out. Just a busy day these days. I supposedly made it to fairly high on Dadcraft's most watched channels list for Twitch this year. I was gonna say, I don't know why, but I do know why. I mean, it's the time slot, really, right? It doesn't do great for numbers per se, but it does great for longevity. Because if you find something you like, even if it ends up being radio grade, you just stick it on in the background and off you go, working away. Early morning meeting, so I'm cranky. Yeah, that'd be about the size of it. I'm having one of those days where I look like I feel. So, uh-oh. Well, whatever. Sorry, Despawn fans. Or, Despawn not fans. That was kind of dumb. I'm not flying, so let's put that over here. The early morning meetings will do that, indeed. So even though you don't really see them every second one of these blocks in behind the stairs, and I was originally adding them because I wanted people to see them behind the stairs, or like behind the gaps, I added them anyways, except for under the stairs, simply because I wanted to have people be able to see them from above if you're flying or walking. It's night again. Who do we have on the server? Oh, JBT. Okay. He's not likely to be able to sleep for me. Probably AFK. That's the other thing about being in a daytime slot like this, is that for the most part, at least in what's my morning, it's fairly quiet around here. So that means that if I wanted to get something done, like say Secret Santa work or whatever, I could. Actually, let's not bother with that one. I could actually do some Secret Santa stuff, but you guys won't be seeing it because the only hint I'm going to give is that it's someone in our community. I wasn't going to give the hint, then I changed my mind. But yeah, so that's part of why you won't be seeing it on stream. I'll tell you afterwards who it was. But the other part of it is I do have some prep to do for it, so you may see some of that. I just don't want to give it away in a big way. DC's honestly so appreciative of folks that go live during the day. can't 100% pay attention to the entire stream, but just having it is awesome. Well, actually, exactly, that's it. Now, I will admit that while I was FSF's, or Fantastic Sherlock Fox's, #1, the rest of his grouping didn't turn out quite the way I expected. And then we discussed that he does exactly that while he's working, is he's got some of the other sort of long-winded streamers on, kind of like a radio station, which to me is actually a bit of a relief because his other favorite radio station it's a good Canadian station, or sort of our national broadcaster, but sometimes the stuff they play during the day can get a little samey for me, so when I walk into his office and it's like, oh, it's playing that again. But on the other hand, it gives us more discussion fodder when somebody's been talking about stuff on stream. So that's kind of neat. Sort of, today so-and-so was talking about whatever the latest thing was. So that's kind of nice to hear it at our lunch breaks when we share time together. I'll write this, that. That's how that works. Someone in our community is the worst hint ever. Well, I mean, the two big pieces that you get about that, it is a bad hint. But the two big pieces about that is, one, by being in my community, it means that they're liable to actually show up while I'm trying to do stuff on stream or watch the VOD, which is not a great one. So that narrows it down. You know, it's a server mate, clearly, because it's for this server. And that they sometimes watch the streams. That's about all I can give, right? And it is a bad hint. I'm well aware of that. It's not DC, though. How's that? There. There you go. But, yeah. I thought about doing some of the prep on stream, but it really, A, wouldn't take much, and B, then it would make it even more obvious, so I'm not going to worry about it. Besides, the wall needs doing. It takes forever, but it needs doing. I mean, I could always take a tech break, which is not necessarily... Ah, Yellow, the man of the very many times used name. This is why he's 94TT. My question is he giving away his age? Just kidding. See, I have yet to meet a 94-year-old who plays Minecraft. There's always a first, but I really don't think it's Yellow. 9 chances out of 10, it's actually probably going to be my husband's grandfather, if it was anybody I knew that was playing Minecraft at that age. I don't know if FSF could imagine that or not. It was kind of funny because initially we thought he was one of those guys, you know, you meet the type that are like, I have a flip phone, it folds in half, it makes calls, that's enough for me, I can make text messages. Which took a little while for him to figure out T9 stuff. But then next thing you know, he's got an iPhone and an iPad, and he's asking my mother-in-law how to do things that she's kind of like, I think I know how to do that, but I'm not entirely sure. Let me ask my kids. If it's your brain's birth year, you're beating Ross, yeah, for sure. Well, there are days, Yellow, when I'm getting sleepy and I'm driving you nuts, that I would say 94 feels like my IQ for the day. And I'm moving so slow today, I'm just likely to fall off the wall, which is weird. Anyway. Actually, I have a suspicion it probably has a reference to something that we don't even know about, and that's totally cool. Oops, there we go. But sometimes I like to make mental excuses for the numbers in people's names, just for fun. 94 TT sounded to me a little bit like, the grand amount of tax one dreams that they owe every year as opposed to what we really owe. Yeah. My brother actually calls his vehicle the Craw, just because it's got KRA in the front of his license plate. But for him, it was accidentally a Maxwell Smart reference, because Maxwell Smart could never say the claw properly, and well, at least not for the villain. And the villain, of course, had a bad stereotyped accent, and so he was always saying it was the craw, not the craw. And it's like, okay, well, the car is now called the Craw. Last day in the office and you're done for the year. Ooh. So does that mean you're working at home for the rest of the year, or do you actually have holidays, Bob? That sounds fantastic. And I should also ask, how are the roads lately? I hear it's been a little wet and sloppy over there. Here it's been like cold and snowy, but not horribly cold. It's actually unusually warm for the season. Freedom! Well, freedom from the stiflingness of the office, I suppose. Only the worst content. DC gives you the best content because he's got a great running commentary, and I'm staring at bricks while prattling on about fake people's ages, which is probably rude. Rude! 2 days this week and next Friday left to work. But it's been dry today. First day for weeks. Well, I guess that's good. One of the things I kind of envy you for over there, Bob, is my absolute favorite smell. Sounds dumb, but my absolute favorite smell is the weird sort of fresh, damp smell that you get when it stops raining, but the world's still sort of damp. I absolutely love that. That's my favorite. And of course, being over here in the prairies, we don't get enough of that. Not by a long shot. Now, it's not, crying all around about rain or something, but, oh man, I don't even normally use that phrase. But we're not, whining and complaining about lack of rain at the moment, thankfully. I'm not a farmer. But, I just miss that fresh, damp smell. As opposed to, like, if I'm out and about with camping people, you get up in the morning, you get out of your tent, and take a deep breath, and yeah, we're in the season where now that stings. That's okay. We have one of the joys that Britain will understand because they don't have it all that often, but that's generally all they get most of the time, is we're at that spot where our roads are still in some areas too warm. So, of course, they help melt the snow, which then, of course, is snowing on top, so all we get is freezing rain and ice on the roads for a little while. Not great, but that's okay. That's when, that's that time of year where you figure out all your, where your drainage stinks, is just because that's where everything pools and becomes little ice pools. But we actually got a really nice, second-hand gift from my parents this year. It's not a Christmas gift, just sort of a, hey, we're changing something in our yard, you get the offcast. But we got, they gifted us a shed. So normally they wouldn't be reusable. This is like a big corrugated plastic shed, which is fine because they got one that actually resists the sun fairly well. And it was just big enough to hold our bicycles, which is great because they were hiding under our deck and unfortunately starting to rust. So it's a good thing that we got them. Actually, let me correct that. 3 out of the 4 bikes were starting to rust. The one that we spent big bucks on to get it like a cast aluminum, that one's not rusting. Go figure. Yeah, well, the shed hand-me-down itself was nice. The what do you call it? The baggage that came along with it by my parents insisting on coming over to set it up for us, and then having an argument about where we wanted to put it, was kind of unwelcome. But the rest of it was fantastic. But it was also one of those ones where it needed a little bit of mandrolics to get certain parts of it to stay together, just because our patio isn't exactly flat. I mean, I know they're supposed to be sloped, but ours has somehow decided that it was going to sink slightly unevenly, so we have a small hump in the middle. Here you will kill me and destroy things. On the modded server, I care less about those. I was trying to make myself stay away from doing vanilla-y things on the modded server, but unfortunately that's what I spent last night doing mostly. Trading away an awful lot of flint. Finally bothered to unlock the one tool or weaponsmith that was already in the neighborhood. And turns out that he actually accepts flint even in the modded server, even cheaper, for me at least, by a couple pieces than the Fletchers do, which is kind of nice. So I was trading with him a little bit and got myself a nice sword. Initially wanted a mending villager and went, okay, yeah, I'll just go with that and call it a day and no more books. Well, that didn't exactly happen. Because I got a fairly expensive one, and I figured, well, okay, I will let him have a warm hot tub bath if necessary. But, warm hot tub? That doesn't make sense. Spicy orange juice? There you go. Anyways, I figured I'd let him have a bath if I got a cheaper one. Well, I didn't. I ended up coming up with a Silk Touch one. It's like, oh, well, we'll try that again. And I can't remember the next one I came up with. I think it was Feather Falling 4, expensive, but still there. And then finally a fairly expensive Unbreaking 3, I think? Though on the way by I saw Protection 4 for like 30 something, and I was going, you know, you get everything that you normally would want at too expensive prices, and you're pretty sure, especially with modded, that they'll add other books and the ones that you were looking for won't come around again. So yeah, I told myself I wasn't going to do villagers. Well, I mean, I needed the villagers, but I wasn't going to go hog wild on them. And here I am with 4 of them. I'm kind of wishing for a 5th to get that protection back again. But I keep seeing a book called Digging on that modded server, and I have no idea what the digging book does. So I keep skipping it just because I don't know what it does. Sometimes you go with what you know, right? That's actually the weirdest part for me, or I shouldn't say weirdest, but one of the parts that I find annoying sometimes about modded is just the fact that they'll have great things, like additional enchantments and stuff, but sometimes the documentation, without having to go ask Reddit, for example, is a little bit thin. I keep seeing that one coming up. I don't even know what it does, Yellow. If you're willing to enlighten me, maybe he'll be villager number 5 or possibly 6. I don't, like as I said, I don't know what it does and what you can enchant with it. It makes the drill a through. Oh, okay. So you're saying it makes your digging implement a 3x3. Is it just for the drill? That's all you can enchant with it? That's probably why I didn't keep it then. Okay, well, if I see it come up again, I'll let you know. Because you tend to be around in game when I am, for the most part. So, yeah. Alrighty. You have to, maybe what I'll do is I'll figure out something that seems to be just diggable. And I'll get a guy that trades drill books. For everybody who's got a drill, they can come have a drill book, and the fee will be charged in, I don't know, some sort of material I don't feel like digging. How's that? I think that's the idea when people put together shops and things. But oh, I also noticed just last night, it took me long enough to actually go and claim my chunks, that I have a neighbor on the modded server in Bob, and I'm quite pleased with that. I did manage, I was digging around in my supplies and went, oh, I have 1 polished rose quartz already, which was exactly the amount I needed when we left off stream, to finish off the massive collection. Oh. Nobody invited you. Oh, actually, that's not what I want to do. Okay. Let's just keep going. They're far enough away that if I ignore them, they tend to ignore me. Yeah, I didn't even know where everybody is, actually. So basically, I've just been bringing up the map and looking at claims. And I went, oh, hey, there's one right there. So, Bob, I'm curious to know, are you choosing to live in the ravine, or are you doing something else with it? I tried living in a ravine, and I just couldn't wrap my brain around it. Just too many spaghetti caves. Geek Out has changed. Pop culture category, miscellaneous, name 2 web series. So these would be series that are only available on the internet, as far as I know. Now, I will put a caveat on this one. The game was written at a time when streaming wasn't a big thing. That mostly a web series would be something you'd find, say, unique to mostly YouTube, I believe. Let me double check that. So I'm going to grab the instruction sheet. That's Disney. That's not going to help. What was this series? Pop culture? Yes, pop culture. I try to grab the correct box. Ah! Everything's falling over. Geek Out Pop Culture. Nice orange box. Does it say what a web series is? It does not say what a web series is specifically. But we can probably decide what a web series is if we want to. I mean, hey, there's a whole section in here about house rules. Bob said, was thinking of putting glass dome over it, digging out more cave for farms, etc. in the size. Just a learning exercise at the moment, though. Exactly. Like, that was kind of where I was going to go with it. I don't know if you guys are familiar. Like, my inspiration at the time was going to be the Myst series, but kind of based on the books or some of the later games where you actually get to see the cleft that people live in. And that was my inspiration, but unfortunately, I did not see the ravine the Bob had. I did not get that far. So I had based in a ravine a little earlier on, and it was so full of spaghetti caves that not only was I getting myself lost every turn, which is, as you guys have seen, not a hard thing to do, but there wasn't a whole lot of contiguous space to work with. It was all like scrawny spaghetti caves, which would have taken forever to dig out. So I decided against that. Maybe a web-based only series, not a streaming service. Yeah, that's what I would expect. Which would be far more geeky, because I know there was Fantastic Show of Fox and I briefly watched one, which I believe had Felicia Day in it. And it was sort of a D&D kind of geek thing, but I don't remember much more about it than that. I mean, it doesn't say it can't qualify. So, I mean, technically... Ooh, Bob got spawners. Well, for you that would be fantastic. For me, that'd be oh good lord. Because just about everybody that I've heard about so far is running into spider spawners, and frequently cave spider spawners at that. So, yeah. We don't need to go over that, but you can imagine that's not my favorite. Okay, well the captain's gone. These guys are bored. That's fine. Doesn't say that it wouldn't count, but technically I guess you could say that YouTube would maybe be a spot you'd find web series. In which case, just about any creator that you like would qualify, right? So I mean, we have the opportunity do something silly like redefine the question to potentially be something like, I don't know, Name 3 series on the DC YouTube channel, meaning Dadcraft. You know, we have opportunities for silly things like that if we want. Which, by the way, completely derailing for a second, although I don't have them triggered to match up. The question of the day where it says, what were you really into as a kid, just referencing on the screen. I have run out of questions of the day for my Discord, and so what I'm going to do is steal some of the ones from the question of the day sheet here, whether we've used them or not, and let them become dailies on the Discord. So you may see things once again popping up the same in both places. Just turned out convenient for me. Okay. Let's go with just throwing down a whole bunch of planks. On the far side, I wasn't wrapping the whole thing. I just needed a safety rail, but I seem to have changed my mind somewhere along the line. So I'll probably go back and redo the start as we go in through the stairs. Oh, F8. Nope. 7. There we go. Ooh. That's not bright. Not smart. Go over there. While the X's are cheaty, hey, I stay alive a little more. Or it ends up bad underneath, either way. Oops, nope, that's not right. Whatever. Yeah, so, Bob, do you plan to... It sounds like you're planning to do something with those 2 spawners, then? I was actually, as you can imagine, incredibly thrilled to discover that you can use wool in the mill to make string, because... Dude, go away. Come on. Oh, too late. No plans yet? Yeah, it never hurts to hedge against the future, right? Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I got a couple of spider eyes just by spiders being near my basin modded, and I figure that'll do. It'll keep me. Guess I'll throw it in the middle for now. Aye. Okay, this is a problem. Enough. A couple of skeletons, a spider, yeah. Creepers are a daytime issue. The spiders are an always issue. And I will cop to the fact that when we get back onto modded, I have a couple more, what do you call them? A couple more deaths to report, which is shameful but true. And that was just because I was doing a lot of back and forth stuff and managed to hit the golems a couple times. One, trying to reach past the golem and click the drawer to put away some flint. But unfortunately, or was it, no, maybe it was take some flint. But anyways, the point with that story was simply to say that I hit the golem, which did not go well for me. Oh, whoops, wrong way. Yeah, so it did not go well. And then the second time, I was trying to get rid of a creeper because it had been following me around for a good 10 minutes, and unfortunately, I shot the creeper just in time for the skeleton to, or sorry, not skeleton, sorry, the golem to walk in front of it. So, of course, having shot the golem, he was pretty mad at me, and you know how that goes. So yeah, when we get on there next, you'll see a couple more deaths in the number. Nowhere near what's on this server. I think I'm at, what, 42 or 43, something like that. And a bunch of those were from one adventure, one night. Because I was hanging with the Zerks, and we, early on in the season, had a PvP headfest. And I was there for one of the nights where we were just clubbering each other to try and get heads. So I kept losing my weapons so fast that I just gave up. And rather than quitting, there were still people that didn't have my head for their collection. So I just ran around hitting people with anything and everything. Not an open hand, but I was beating up Wolfen, and I actually nearly got her head on that one. But I was beating up Wolfen with a chicken feather. And I think I tried to take on PP Zerk with some seeds. But it got a little bit ridiculous. The crossfire is definitely a thing. Peek out, 2 television westerns. Bonanza and Gunsmoke. Wow. Yep. And I mean, I guess you could count The Lone Ranger as well. Right? Because that's where all that started. And if I understand correctly, I think Roy Rogers started on television, but I'm not fully sure. I'm not old enough to know that one. Weirdly enough, I think my dad might know that. Actually, this is one of those... Geek Out is one of those games that I would actually like to try to play with my parents, just for kicks. I know they would fail at the majority of it, but some of the sort of television and movie-related stuff, they actually might do fairly well. My dad's a horrible movie buff. Like, he loves movies. He loves random details from movies. Even though he's now at the age where he falls asleep during the majority of them. Particularly when they're at home. And then, but he sees a lot at the movie theaters. And yet will never ever read the book first. Ever. Or second or third or anything. If it's based on a novel and they make a movie first, it's like, okay, yep, seen it, don't need to read the book. But if it's a book going to be made into a movie, he has some other cheesy excuse. He's like, oh, well, they're just going to make a movie out of it, so I don't need to read the book. And the truth is, he just doesn't like fiction books. So he's hard to buy for at Christmas. But I guess we're, approaching, like, old enough that he's earned it to be a cranky old sot. But every year I expect him to actually say get off my lawn, and he never does. Jake says, I miss the era where every movie had a budget video game release with it. Some of those games are really good. Hey Jake, how are you doing? Welcome on in. Yeah, it's funny when you say that, because the first ones that come to mind for me in that respect are the Mortal Kombat ones. But I think those are the reverse situation where they decided to make movies because there already was a video game. I could be wrong. I would be very happily corrected on that. I need a slab, I believe. Make it look remotely sane. Okay, there we go. But yeah, there were movies and video game combos of just about everything for a while. But I mean, I really do think there were movies to sell that. Like, who hasn't heard the story that that the G.I. Joe toys were the inspiration for the G.I. Joe TV series? As in, it was one of those cheesy ones where the TV series was created as a way of letting the toy companies sell toys. That was the whole point to the thing. Let's see. We're still looking at 2 television westerns. Was Assassin's Creed the same? Oh, as a movie video game thing. That's a good question. I would watch it as a movie. I'm not sure I'm enjoying it as a video game. Part of it is because I'm not starting at the beginning of the series. So, I got no idea who most of these characters are. And I will admit, I'm playing on the Switch, which is great, except that some of the controls are pretty janky. And they're supposed to be, a little bit... Not from that's supposed to be, but like what I read, people are saying they're a little bit sus in general. There's lag if you're going remote to the unit. Say you got it put in a television stand or something. But weirdly, you have to take your choice. Either you get worse graphics if you're hand-holding the device to play, so that you get less lag on the controllers, or you get better graphics, like notably so, with the unit in the TV mode. So it's like, I'm horrible at assassin type games, even though I really want to learn this one, just because the story kind of appeals and the art appeals and stuff. So it's sort of out of my normal comfort zone. But yeah, movie might help. I don't know which one I'm on. Over the Hedge, Barnyard, Lord of the Rings, and Aragon all had good games. Well, the thing is, that was ones where movies were first, right? Whereas some of the ones where games were first, we've seen some really sus movies. For example, I mean, people have been talking lately about the D&D movies, and some are great, some are horrible. The most recent one, I shouldn't say great, but some of the most recent ones are half decent, I guess, maybe is the word. Whereas some of the other versions are not so much. And I'm sure people who are familiar with the older D&D games would agree with me that, yeah, it's kind of tough to make a movie out of that because there's so many different options of what you can do in the game. And some of the game masters let you get away with all kinds of crazy shenanigans that don't even have to fit in the world if you can find some excuse for it. I will be honest, I've yet to see it, but I probably should. No, I don't need that many. Sure, why not? So yeah, I have yet to see any of the Dungeons and Dragons movies, partly because I was a little bit predisposed to not like it because of the earlier ones, and the trailers were terrible of the earlier ones. Then again, I just haven't seen a whole lot of movies recently. We saw, what did we see? We saw the Indiana Jones movie with the kids. Pardon me. But I don't remember what I saw prior to that. I think it might have been one of the Fantastic Beasts movies. And I think the only other one I remember seeing in the theater in the last few years was the first Downton Abbey movie. So yeah. I'm a little behind on movies. On the other hand, at least I got the kids to want to see some movies with me. They don't generally like it. We sort of have to force them to say, yeah, it's movie day. Tough luck. Suck it up. They're not a fan of it when we do stuff like that. But then later on they go, oh, hey, I'd like to see the sequel. That was their experience with Back to the Future. It was kind of like pulling teeth to get them to watch it in the first place. And then once they watched the first one, my son at least is wanting to see the second one. Honestly, I don't like the second one. I think it's really skippable. But he really wants to see that one before he'll see the third, which is arguably my favorite, but that's just because I like Old West-timey stuff. And there you go. I mean, technically, I guess you say, if we're talking about Westerns, and we had to name Western films earlier, then I guess Back to the Future 3 would qualify, sort of. So, yeah, I probably... Right, I have to figure out how to get in there. Okay, well, I'll leave that for now. But it is well after dark, and I probably have lots of mobs near the bed. Seems to be the way of things. I could fly, but in all honesty, I would fall off we have a pair of creepers. Lovely. Oi, more spiders. Nope, 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 nope. Elle says nope. And a zombie that temporarily looked high speed. That's not good news. Alright. The only problem with poppies around here, I shouldn't say the only, but one of the problems with me having poppies around here is that it keeps confusing me when it comes to whether or not I've got spiders in there. Alright. So we've got two television westerns. We definitely beat that one. For those with iPhones who are doing this sort of streaming thing, I do like the Elgato app. For the buttons, it just doesn't like my tablet. I'm not quite sure why, but it's only the tablet that's happening to. The phone seems to be okay, as in I can skip the bottom section and actually get it to respond where I want, but for some reason the tablet seems to have a much deeper sensitivity zone. And that's why you're getting some of the weird things, although I will admit sometimes the placement of where some of the sounds are is a little fortuitous. In terms of, like, if I'm having a really silly moment and not making a whole lot of sense and doing dumb mistakes, then it goes on with the, it conveniently lets me miss hitting the geek out button correctly and get you the little Wizard of Oz quote about people without brains. It's almost like my tablet has a commentary. Too late to say Westworld? That's fine. I'll take it. Here we're looking at 2 songs over 6 minutes long. Pop culture, 2 music songs over 6... Music songs, of course. Over 6 minutes long. I know 2 artists that did a song over 6 minutes, but I can't for the life of me remember what the song is. I know Smashing Pumpkins did one that was like 12 and a half minutes or something. And then, or not in that order, but prior to that, I know one of the Beatles songs. Wow. Swifty. I know one of the Beatles songs technically qualifies. The bit that you ever hear played in most situations is actually, like, what, 3 or sub 3 minutes, something like that. But they actually have the longest recorded note, or at least till recently had the longest recorded note in music history, because you can keep turning your volume up and up. Like, that's the nice part of the hand crank dials on an old-fashioned stereo. You can just keep turning the volume up and keep hearing this note. It's actually a chord. That goes on for another like 2.5 minutes or something before it successfully fades below a human's ability to hear with the technology we have. Thriller if you count the video.
Hello?
Hello? Meatloaf's Paradise? Please tell me this is not like Paradise by the Dashboard Light, because frankly, I'm really sorry to know that's that long. By the way, welcome Inside Glass. How are you doing? Been a while. Been a while since we've spoken anyways. Good to see you, and hopefully you're doing well. Yeah, that's one that Fantastic Sherlock Fox likes that song a fair bit. He and I have, it's weird, we're only 6 months apart, but he and I have very different tastes in music. There's some stuff I like from the same eras, but yeah, for the most part, we don't have a whole lot of music that we like together. That's cool. That's totally awesome. Hey, if I make a half-decent radio, I'm good with it. You've heard this before, but I'll say it again. I may have a, was it a face for radio and a voice for print? But we're here anyway. Actually, you know what? The voice for print may not even be accurate when I think about it, because these days it sounds like I do decently reading audiobooks, which should not be the case at all. Glad. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm not here to be, you know, self-effacing or whatever all the time. Just, yeah, sometimes that's where my head's at, and get it out of the road, you know? But I'm glad. Thank you very much. So you were saying that that Paradise one is really, it's over 6 minutes. Wow, I didn't know that. Actually, I guess I could see it if you're including the bit where it's playing clips of like the baseball game, and I've heard that some DJs when they want to play that on the radio will actually try and get a compressed version, where some of that radio clip thing, even though it's contextual in the song, it can get clipped or sped up a little bit. Yeah, DC was talking not too long ago about how some of the Epidemic Sound stuff sounds a little bit like doctor's office music, and I would agree with him. After Christmas, I will be playing some of the other stuff. I tend to like the stuff that they used to call oldies, although it's kind of scary that what's now called oldies is within my lifetime. I grew up with oldies meaning like well before my lifetime. Yeah, and it's one of those ones that I'll be changing my playlist, but for now, we've got Jingle Trap. When it gets much, much closer to Christmas, I actually may play the one that has people actually singing known Christmas songs. No copyright issues there because of, you know, paying for licensing and all that jazz. Where am I here? But, oh no, I wanted, right, spruce. Fences. This one. These. I don't need that many fences, do I? I'm kind of wishing I already had checked. There's some spruce fence. Will 50 get me? 50 might get me there, actually, so I'm just going to go with it. But yeah, this stuff is kind of like we're stuck in a perpetual bookshop or jazz cafe. Even though it's Christmas themed. And hopefully the now playing songs are still coming up correctly, although I suspect they're not, because I'm not using Spotify at the moment. So I have to figure out how to get the now playing to change it up. I can use Epidemic Sound through Spotify so the now playing stuff starts working again. But at the moment, I was using their own web app, and the reason for it is that when I'm doing Christmas stuff, it's fine, I guess. It'll do. But yeah, 50 did just fine. When I'm using their own playlists and such on the web app, that's one thing. They're just, some of them are different on the web app than they are on Spotify. But also, going the opposite direction, I know we have wall on the other side to do, but I'm going to get up to the gatehouse first. Anyways, where was I going with this? Oh, yes. But going the other direction, Epidemic Sound's web app will play in chain all their results to a search of your choice. So they will be able to just, like you just say, go. Well, not really say go, but you click on whatever song you want to actually hear, and it'll just keep playing it, and you can even shuffle them up, and so forth, through their web app based on a search. So that's a feature I quite like about their web app. And really it's just the web page, but I've got a container app that they have. They're going with, I'm trying to remember who it is they used here. Give me a sec. They use, oh, moved it to the bottom. There we go. I can't find it. Web Catalog. So is who they're using as a container app, which is all well and good. But now that I figured that out, I have to figure out how to get the now playing stuff fixed, which is not convenient at the moment. Technically, we don't have to, how do we put it? We don't actually have to credit it makes no sense, but we don't actually have to do a whole lot of crediting the songs on streams live if it's impossible, as they put it. But they really would like you to actually credit every single stinking song on your VOD if you possibly can. I just wrote back to support and said, that's not reasonable. There's no way. They're like, yeah, well, here's your catch-all link. Okay. I'll take the catch-all links, thanks. Now I do need more spruce fence. Okay. Forgot that I was doing it on the other side. Did I take... There we go. So, yeah. I just basically told him, not happening. Don't even bother asking. Now it's a 6 of one, a dozen the other for sticks. Do I want... Let's get spruce ones for sticks. Okay. No. Need that. I want those to actually come fence. Thank you very much. Not much. Come on. I need more. Anyways, that's where a lot of this is coming from. But the song you've got now is actually... I can find it on the list. Where are we here? Oh. Okay. Few more. Nope. I need to figure out where we're at. There's a song we may have played. I need to skip. We've played it. Okay. Whoops. There's one that technically had explicit lyrics in the background. Surprise. I'm gonna pretend I didn't notice, because I didn't. We're about 3 songs later, not on shuffle. Oops. Sorry, guys. Let's hope I talked over it enough. Anyway, but yeah, that's why I like that app. The song we're on right now is by an artist called Cushy, but it's actually just called Prancer. For obvious reasons. Okay, I'm making fences. Come on. This one. Boop. Fences, please. Boop. Okay, that'll get me going for a while. Excellent. Yeah, I didn't either. And I never noticed. The problem... I will say, heads up, the advantage to playing on Spotify versus the advantage to playing on the web app apparently is lost when the web app refuses to let you mark your account to filter out explicit stuff. So I may be sticking with Spotify. That's a little scary. I'm just going to double check what I'm up to here as we go. This one isn't explicit and it's got cheesy as all. Okay. Let's see. I want... Like, how do I organize everything so that it all makes some sort of logical sense? It never will. This one, I think. Going this way isn't too bad when you're coming down, but going up is a bit of a pain. Come on. Go. Especially when the stuff underneath you disappears. All right. We're at slabs. helping much, but that's okay. One of the things I will say, I don't normally envy Bedrock people because Bedrock, and but sometimes they have nice little features that are good to have, and one of them is Mad Hatter's add-on for randomizing. Because in this particular scenario, I could, if I was running up and down the wall to do the, you know, slab, stairs, etc., or even stairs and fences, which is what we're on to now. The perk that they've got with that one is I could actually set 2 slots full of slabs and stairs, and because I have a mod that will have them auto refilling. Ooh, down here. Yeah, because I have a mod that will have them auto refilling, then I can just set it to 50%, as in like 50% of the stuff that you put down will be one and 50% will be the other. And then that way, you just run along the wall, well, not run, but you know, back and forth, and whatever you put down, it will auto do them opposite for you. Come on. Doesn't like the fact that I'm standing in the way because fences are just that teeny bit taller. Adding to the long songs, I would do Anything for Love by Meatloaf. That's the one, isn't it? Oh no, it's not. No, it's the other one he does. Those are like the 2 songs I'm even aware of by Meatloaf. That's not true. I'm a big enough fan of Meatloaf, sarcasm intended, that I was really pleased with the result of his appearance in Rocky Horror Picture Show. It was a little bit disgusting at the end as a concept, but I was like, yeah, good, gone. Just because there's nothing really wrong with his music, it just never really worked for me, I guess. So it's just another example of people in our house have different tastes. I'm sure that's the way it goes in most households. Like, I would bet you that, say, for example, Bats and Mrs. Bats probably listen to different stuff. I suspect, although they seem to share a similar music taste when they're on stream, I bet you that the Dynamites probably listen to different things from each other most of the time off stream. And it's actually kind of funny when I caught the other day one of the DJs on the radio station we just put on in our kitchen just to leave it and let it do its thing all day. Streaming data be danged sort of thing. And we and they play, they call it 90s to Now, which is great and all, except that I caught one of the announcers the other day saying, yeah, we're going to put some more oldies on. And they were grabbing their parents' old CD changer from the basement to play 90s tunes. And I was thinking, oh, okay, I don't feel old now. Not at all, no. I mean, the fact that, like, next week, our Scout youth are having a holiday party, of course, surprise. I mean, we've got the older set of Scout youth is having one tomorrow, and then the younger set's having their holiday on Monday, and they've decided they want to watch a movie. And thankfully, they've decided on Polar Express, which just reminds me I still have to get hold of the person I want to borrow it from. But I only have access to a digital copy, which is great, except that we're working with a not technologically savvy set of leadership for the most part. I can take care of it. It's not a big deal. I can make a lot of things work, like projectors and stuff like that. No problem. But not most of these gents. They have other things in their lives. I mean, like one's a hunter. One's very DIY when it comes to like electronic gadgets. As in like being able to make, let's say, Lego Technic might be more his speed, I guess, without a lot of the programming angles. That family does a lot of board games and stuff. Just different people's preferences, I guess. Anyway, so they're like, do you happen to still have a DVD player? Yeah, why? Because I think we'd like to show the movie that way. Pardon me? Who does that these days? So, yeah. Thankfully, they tracked down one that I'm likely able to borrow. I mean, I also have a DVD burner if necessary, but I'm not going to go that far because that's a little much in terms of, like, bending copyright rules. It's one of those ones where, you know, I was always on the bandwagon about format transfer. When technology is such that you generally can't play it anymore on the original format, then it's probably worth allowing people to have legally one format transfer in their possession. That's where I am anyways. But a lot of the problem these days is also that there's really messy rules if you're trying to be completely above board when it comes to using streaming services for group watches. A lot of them will let you, watch with your family and friends from your couch kind of thing. That's fine. But technically, if I was to use one of our streaming service logins for, a Scout thing, because there's a chance it could be more than 6 people on your couch kind of deal, then a lot of streaming services actually have fine print that say you shouldn't be doing that. Not that they're ever going to chase us down, and probably would have problems, getting a charitable organization to actually cough up anything if they tried to get us in trouble. But it's just not one of those roads that's worth going down in the first place. Anyhow. I had to laugh. I said no, but one kid at the group that I was with, he's a bit of a Star Wars buff when he can get it, kind of thing. And I guess this year he was trying to troll us, and he tried to vote for the Star Wars Holiday Special. I just kiboshed that one real fast. Yeah, those are definitely more directed towards entertainment venues. I mean, I could see us being, legally able to get in trouble if, I could see us more legally able to get in trouble if, say, we were selling snacks, even cheaply, while we did that. Because then we're theoretically making money off of it. But we're not, it's just a bunch of kids in the theater. Or not theater, actually, frankly, it's a church boardroom. So, yeah. But anyway, as I said, why go that way? If the people who are likely to be actually running the equipment for a large portion of the evening can't seem to figure out how to hit go with a mouse pad on a laptop, every once in a while, never hurts to support them. Let's see, Geek Out. 2 comic book characters who can travel through time. Are you talking voluntarily or accidentally? Well, here's the thing. We're not. Basically, the way it works is we can get a charity number fairly easily, as in, to be an NPO or a charity or whatever for a lot of services. Hey, Poodle! Good to see you. Hopefully things are going well. We can get a charitable designation for a lot of services, but there's a lot of bending over backwards first because we have to register our specific group number with our national to get under the charitable group. Apparently that has something to do with our insurance, and I have no idea why it should have anything to do with our insurance, but it does. So, yeah. You would think something like that would be exempt. But I mean, on the same front though, church choirs, for example, are not exempt from say copyright issues on performance. So even if one wanted to do a performance of a song from, we'll say, Hold Polar Express or something as part of a winter concert, technically, if you don't play a license for that, a choir group shouldn't be doing that. Which, that just seems janky to me. But, it is. No problem, Poodle. Fantastic Sherlock Fox is on the case when it comes to shoutouts. And it does seem that our shoutout duplication issue was fixed, so that's good news. We had an issue for a while where, for some reason, the bot I'm using, StreamerBot, was duplicating stuff in such a way that that when we used the !SO text type shoutout, which a lot of streamers are still using, that the bot, for some reason, when it also triggered the Twitch / shoutout style, it would actually duplicate things. But it's not like the bot would let it get duplicated. Users would get duplicated in our list, which means that screwed up the credits. But going with that, the even if we did it manually, so as in not have that as part of the shoutout and then ran that command for the shoutout manually, it's still duplicated. I don't get why, but that's been fixed now. So yeah, too much information. You know, I'm envying some of the people who have certain features on their streams, and then I just never remember when it comes down to, oh yeah, I should probably DM so-and-so about what it is they're doing here. And I just forget. The biggest thing that bothers me about the forgetting part and is stereotypically that's getting old, and you know, some people don't like that, the whole getting old business. But the one that gets me more is that it looks like there's a hereditary likelihood in my family over time. And I don't think I'm not trying to borrow trouble and say it's now, but it looks like there's a hereditary likelihood in my family over time of Alzheimer's. We were hoping it was just once, but it looks like it might be a second time. And I mean, some people in our house, it's kind of like okay, well, is it that, or is this person just using that as an excuse to be a jerk? But no, it's not. So anyways, that to say that that I'm trying to figure out techniques to teach myself to focus and figure out what's going on now so that I don't have to worry about it as I get older. So yeah, life's like that. Alrighty. That was really dark and I wasn't intending to go dark, so my apologies. This. Might as well put another one here. Oh, oops. There. Sure. Side effect to this, I mean, I like the way it looks, but on the side effect is it keeps the spiders off, which for me is never a bad thing. Okay. Oh. That's weird. Where'd that come from? This one's actually called Stocking Stuffer? No, it's not. How am I? Apparently I have two different screens going. This one is actually called Pine Trees. What? Pine Trees Pulled Up? Nope. Just Pine Trees. Okay. Whatever. Beginning of it the song to me started sounding like Ave Maria, and I was like, that's not what I intended. Anyway, okay, what was I? There was something I was thinking about. Now I can't remember what I was thinking about. It was the yeah. Fantastic Sherlock Fox suggested, and I've seen a few other places, that if you don't know what you want to chitter chatter about on stream, that you can keep a notebook or try to remember various stories that you wanted to tell people. And then, oh, hey, I was really going to tell so-and-so, who happens to be in stream, about whatever it was. And I thought I had, but apparently did not. And now I'm going, what was that thing I was going to tell Poodle? Can't remember now. Oh, well. I sent a... I was going to say, I sent a message late last night to my Secret Santa person, because it occurred to me, with all the conversation we've been having in Dadcraft's Discord, I'm meaning sort of real-life Santas, not the in-game ones, it had occurred to me that I probably should let them know whether or not the package was wrapped. I forgot that part in my original message to them. So, tried that, but I thought it was interesting because I wonder sometimes if my turn of phrase is going to give me away. Sort of like the way we used to tease some of the other people in Dadcraft's community about jokingly where they lived and common turns of phrase in that region. Ross comes to mind. There's a few others like that as well. Every once in a while we see that sort of stuff come up in the food channels in the Discords, and that's because a lot of cases we have different names for things. So for example, we have conversations about zucchini bread. But I guess the next question, in that same vein would be, well, what about courgette bread? And if a person actually doesn't know that in different parts of the world those are the same thing, you might go, I don't know, never had it, I should try it. It's like, well, yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Question of the day. Terrier Dart still enjoys breathing. Also puzzles. When you say puzzles, what sort of puzzles? Are you talking about, like, jigsaw puzzles? Good to see you, Terrier Darts. I actually have a jigsaw puzzle I've been meaning to get to for a long time, because I like Hogwarts for Harry Potter, and I've had a lovely night scene that I've been meaning to get to. The puzzles are one of those things I don't take a lot of time for, but even when I do, they take so much physical space. There's a lot of spread out. Someday I will get myself one of those puzzle board things that is stiff. So, I don't know if it was my mum. I saw one once at a store I liked, and then when I went back to get it, it wasn't there anymore. But my mum had one, I think my dad built it for her, where on her puzzle board, it can be stiff, and then hers has wings to the side of it that you open up, and that's where you can sort your pieces. The problem with that, though, is it has to stay open while you're building on the puzzle, like until it's finished. Otherwise, you're going to dump all your parts when you close everything up. But the one I saw in a shop was one where it had a flat surface that you build your puzzle on, but it also had two removable trays that could sit on top of that, where you sort all your jigsaw puzzle pieces, and then you could put the trays back in when you weren't finished the puzzle, but had to put things away for a while. And that worked out nicely. So, I was thinking that would be a great one. I went to go take another look and see how much it cost and whatever, and the shop didn't have it anymore, and I've never seen it on the net again, which is too bad. But yeah, I do have one of those Rolo Puzz things, which is a big felted fabric sheet. Excuse me just a second, gotta sneeze. Hopefully you didn't hear that. But I do have one of those Rolo Puzz things, which are great, and it's a felted fabric sheet that you can roll. You lay all your puzzle pieces out around the edge, and you build your puzzle in the center. And they have a sort of safe zone of where you can actually, where you're supposed to put all your bits so that when it rolls up, it fits nicely. And so I like those. The problem is just that sometimes working on the floor is a little bit uncomfortable when it's on carpet and stuff. It's not as easy to get everything to stay together. See? Oh yeah. I did that a lot with with that cherry darts. If I see somebody sneeze, I hear one anyways. It's kind of funny. It's interesting though, on the jigsaw roll mats. Be right back, gotta fold sourdough. Ooh. You prefer jigsaws, Sudokus, and Rubik's Cubes generally? I'm not sure what I think of Rubik's Cubes. They're a weird puzzle, but yeah. It's like a puzzle box that never opens. Oh, there's the other wall. Okay. So here, let's go back again. And we're going to do the wood blocks. See, Bobberine bought a jigsaw roll mat at lunchtime. We always do jigsaws at Christmas, but they end up in the way. We used to do puzzles at Christmas when I was a kid, because we'd go visit my grandmother. And she lived alone, but she still had a great big dining room table. I thought it was those funny country houses in small towns where you have an eat-in kitchen, and then the center of the house was the dining room. So quite literally, you walked from the kitchen to the dining room, then through to, I guess, the sitting room or living room, I guess, family room. It's kind of all the same thing. And then it wrapped around out of the family room, so like a big horseshoe shape, to another part of the, like to get to the rest of the house for bedrooms and stairs and so on. And so we used to always do puzzles spread all over her dining table. Which is one of the few times she'd ever have it pulled out from the wall. Okay, we have had a lot of Harry Potter ones, but now anything. One of the things I had thought about doing, unfortunately, I don't have the right machine to do it. But one of the designs I had thought about was like I've got a Cricut machine, so one of those ones that cuts things, but mine only cuts paper crafting and vinyl type materials. I don't think it's worth, for the amount I use it, I don't think it's worth upgrading to one that does more, but the advantage to having the one that does more in this sort of case is, I was thinking of doing, they handle 12 by 12 sheets, so I was thinking about being able to do, what do you call it? To do puzzles in that size, so that was sort of one of my thoughts. And because the larger or the more powerful one can do balsa wood, so then you could put whatever picture you want on. And because the machine can replicate the cutting design, then I could use one to cut a print and stick sticker, and one to cut the actual balsa wood project. Not one, I mean I could do this 2 separate pieces, or if I really wasn't too worried about how much glue I was getting on the cutting wheels, then I could stick the two together and just get it cut that way. But now, I could do it as cardstock, but that's the best we could get, and quality on that's a little sus in terms of like long-term longevity. Besides, people would have to actually be interested in putting them together. And I think at the moment I'm the only one in the house that really enjoys that sort of thing. No loss, really. Let's make this one into stairs, and these, make them into slabs. Bread is good. I've folded it several times before letting it rise. Ooh. I need to ask, just out of curiosity, Poodle. You did sourdough. Does your sourdough have a name, or is this faux sourdough that you were telling us about earlier? And I know you've mentioned that sometimes you actually do starter-based sourdough, and other times you don't. So I'm curious, which one is this? Actually, not really. This one, and did I bring any dirt? No, that's DC's sourdough starter. This one's with a starter. Okay, yeah. I'm curious, Poodle, have you ever made fruitcake? I know I'm one of the few that actually likes fruitcake. I actually bought a good kilogram size one this year. But I ask because one of my favorites that my grandmother used to make, she had a rum pot in her house. So what those are is, for those that aren't aware, just probably, we can skip that one. It's a big ceramic jar used for fermenting fruits, and usually in rum, surprise. But she used to use it to make friendship bread starter, which she, for a while, would share with her friends, and then, of course, as life happens, you know, friends get old and stop making things like that. So she ended up with this large jar that she didn't use for much of anything. I think at one point it was storing knitting supplies. I don't know what happened to it. I would actually have loved to have had it. But anyway, yeah, so she used to make friendship bread stuff. And it was called friendship bread, as far as I understand, because you chain share the starter. Ooh, I'm gonna have to pick your brains on that one. Yep. So you share the starter. So the idea being that, kind of like how you divide the starter for a sourdough, in friendship bread, the mix used for fermenting the fruits and stuff, you can share that amongst friends. I guess is where that goes. I'll have to look into it more to make sure I got that correct. But yeah, so they used to share these things back and forth. And one year she gave us a little bit when I was living at home with my parents. And my mom made one loaf out of it. And she said that she didn't like fruitcake in general enough to ever bother with having the house smell like that ever again. So, as you can imagine, that didn't go over very well. Oh, good. Yeah. But I've had some of my grandmother's friendship bread that was a little bit on the heady side. Picture just about everybody's got the story in their family, North America at least, of people in their family who enjoy eating and or making rum balls. Yeah. My grandmother's were the kind of rum balls where you have to decide who's the designated driver before you eat them. One year for kicks, we actually flamed some of her rum balls just to see if they would, and they did. But she used to keep them in a nice airtight container. One of those, actually, weirdly enough, she used a strip of what I think was supposed to be sourdough bread. It was by the time we got to it. But she used to actually seal her rum pot jar with a bit of bread dough. That's sort of a 1700s trick that I think she learned from a magazine. But anyways, so she used it so it acts like a gasket, and that's where she would make the fruit stuff. But then after she stopped making the fruit stuff, like the friendship bread, she would use her rum pot container to store the season's rum balls with the seal on. So yeah, it got to be a little bit heady. Her family was, they weren't really Irish or English. I mean, technically they were Irish, but with a name like Hill, you're never gonna find them, kind of thing. Like I was not going to be able to track them back, but they were also a bunch of what's the word? Anglophiles, I guess. That makes it sound inappropriate, but it's not. They just loved English things, except they decided that Fleming rum balls was their tribute to Snapdragon, which we've talked about before. It showed up in the Advent calendar, and Snapdragon is the one where kids would reach into dishes of flaming fruits and pull the fruits out while they're still flaming to eat. These days, you can imagine that would not be high on my safety list. Loses? Well, you need to be prepared, right? This house is all about the whole Scout Be Prepared thing. You never know what year that her father might actually cave and come visit for Christmas. So you got to be prepared for that one. Oh. Yes, this way? Yeah, I don't eat the rum balls because I don't eat the rum balls my mother-in-law makes. It's not for any reason other than the fact that as much as I would love to, there are a lot of other Christmas sweets that I will eat that other people in the family will not. So I need to manage what I eat because they're not going to eat the stuff that I like. So I should probably leave for them the stuff that they enjoy. Fictional indigenous peoples or tribes. 2. Well, that's actually not really horribly hard. I can think of one right off the bat. Yeah, it's Na'vi from Avatar. Yeah, Avatar, trying to remember what they were called. So that's the Na'vi people. And then we had I don't think of a whole lot. You're right. There you go. DC's got it. The Jawas, and depending on what version of the lore you read, Sand people wouldn't count, but they've definitely beat the white Skywalker style settlers to it. But we got 2. I'll go with that. We've got the Jawas. I guess Wookiees maybe would work, because the Imperial forces took over Kashyyyk before the Wookiees kind of were. They never really put up with it. They actually just fought them. T-Brick or T-Brack. Oh, okay. Okay. I may have actually heard of that once in a blue moon. I've heard of freckle bread. I mistakenly at one point used to think it was the same thing as soda bread, but it's not. Very, very much not. Yeah, I went on a kick for a while that I was going to try and learn to make bread, but didn't stick with it. And the reason for that was just purely that it was one of those things I was so disappointed with my personal first experience at making it that I didn't try again. You can do it in a machine, which sounds cheesy. I don't mind doing that. And we've done several instances where we'll do the dough in the machine, and we'll do, so I mean, it's closer to hand done, but usually I just let the machine do it all. I've been somewhat creative with that one, but I just don't make bread a whole lot because there aren't a whole lot of people in my family that will eat a home fresh made loaf of bread before it goes off. And there may be sensitivity issues for me, so it's another reason I don't make a whole lot of bread and don't eat a whole lot of bread. And it's not just about the cleanliness of the ingredients in terms of healthy eating and, avoiding chemicals and all that jazz. There is family history to suggest that we actually have sensitivities in our life to celiac. So that's actually meaning that our system doesn't know, or our family systems, I guess if I don't have it, which is pretty likely. It's either IBS or that. But anyways, if one properly has celiac disease, basically what that means is that your system, in essence, like lactose intolerance, it doesn't really know how to handle or properly deal with the gluten protein in wheat products and rye products and similar families. And since it doesn't know what to do with it, then it just passes that like trash, which should be fine. The reason it's not fine... did I get that right? We'll find out. Okay. The reason it's not fine is that that's apparently nasty on your insides. Oh. So, it actually scraped up your insides. and then your system doesn't or isn't able to absorb nutrients properly because it's all scraped up. So yeah, simply eating as healthy as possible means you're going to get less reaction, but still making products out of high gluten containing flours and stuff can be problematic. My aunt used to end up in the hospital from small amounts of it, which was weird to me because for the longest time I didn't understand. Like, she'd go on cruises with my mum, and she'd have to take her own cutlery on the cruise and wash it herself in her room because she couldn't trust that the cutlery at the serving area, or like at her serving setting, that the ship would provide was actually going to be clean enough. Which is weird, trying to go through security, having to explain why you have a fork, knife, and spoon and no, you didn't steal them, that you brought them from home. Because security these days kind of goes, who does that? And you get labeled an eccentric. The other one that's a big pain in the neck is if you're traveling with someone who's got a food sensitivity. As many of you guys are probably well aware, frequently you'll need to be able to see the menu a day in advance to be able to pick what it is you want to eat, because something generic like a buffet may not actually be safe. So yeah. It's interesting. I love a lot of homemade breads and stuff. It tastes really good, but I have to be aware that if I mix them, particularly with cheese, that I will be in the hurt box, which sucks. Because growing up, I loved me a good grilled cheese sandwich. Those are awesome. Especially with old cheddar. And weirdly enough, I don't know if you guys have ever tried this one in yours, but we've done a little bit. Thanks, Fantastic Sherlock Fox. I do see it. If where's I going here? I got distracted. What is that? This one shouldn't be here. Oh, I see why it's there. Okay. Those corners are going to be weird. To go with it. Go. Alright, distraction. See? I can't recall where I was going with that. There was a reason to that story, but I can't recall. It's part of what made me think about it, the traveling thing in general, not just the making bread and loving bread. Oh, right, yes, right. If you haven't tried it before, that's where I was going. Grilled cheese sandwiches. If you haven't tried it before, one of the things I actually quite like is a good sharp mustard inside my sandwich. Just a little super thin layer of a sharp mustard inside the grilled cheese sandwich when you make it. Yummo. The other one, though, I've never really gotten into was I've never really been a fan of tomato soup, and I don't understand why people seem to think grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup are a common combination. It's one of those things that every time we do a camp menu, and then somebody says they want grilled cheese sandwiches, like, oh, we should have something else with that, so why don't we have tomato soup? And I'm always having to fight for something else, because I'm not the only one that doesn't like tomato soup. I think it's an adult acquired taste. It's a generation thing, maybe? I don't know. But the vast majority of our youth won't eat it if it's tomato soup. And then the leaders complain that the kids are leaving too many leftovers and won't eat it properly. They won't eat their food. It's like, well, I don't think we need to give them junk per se, but if you get more luck getting your kid to eat chicken noodle soup out of a can, or even ramen packages at camp, go with it. Ouch. Ouch. I'm catching the Fantastic Sherlock Fox thing about the Tusken Raiders on Tatooine. Fox needs to have a conversation with Star Wars Fan Kid on this one. He's the one that tore me apart for saying that they were native. He says they may have grown to be, but they weren't originally. Easiest example of case in point was supposedly the fact that that they have to stay covered up so much because they don't even seem to have enough sun protection to take their wrappings off when they're indoors. And I think that's a little ridiculous because one could easily invent lore that says they don't for the same sort of, potentially religious reason as like Din Djarin didn't take his helmet off. I missed a bit about a popular drink, and not popular drink. It's got fat bread. Okay, we got freckle bread. I'm seeing some of the stuff on the screen, but if I don't catch it fast enough, then it scrolls off my cheaty screen and I can't get back to it easily. Okay, where are we here? You actually put cheese on your grilled cheese, not like CK grapes. Mistakes happen when people get busy, especially with teachers. I've heard of teachers who ate their dessert first because somehow they didn't clue in that they hadn't actually eaten the main meal of the lunch they brought that day for work. And so they go to put everything away afterwards and realize that they hadn't eaten their sandwich or hadn't eaten whatever the other warm thing was they brought. Yeah, the reason V8 is not popular kids drink. Exactly. Grilled cheese and vegetable soup. That's actually a good one. I should probably try and fight for that for a change. Oddly enough, we actually had one weird situation where we had one kid who thankfully did like tomato soup, but she, correction, things have changed around our scout group for a while, but they have decided that they are vegetarian, and so there is no way, no how, that they will eat tomato soup at camp that either they or their scout parent have not prepared. And the reason for that, I can't really blame them, but I mean they're a little hardcore, is simply that we had an accident at one point, just a very minor one, where someone was opening the tomato soup can, opened it, fine, no problem, got it in the pot. And then they opened the chicken noodle soup can with one of the ring tops, so it popped open and they went to pull it. When they went to pull it, sometimes the lid will sort of warp during the opening process, and as they went to pull it, it snapped through the other way, just caused a little tiny splash. But that ruined the entire pot of tomato soup. For I think there was a vegetarian and a person who didn't eat chicken. There was a whole reason behind that, but yeah. So they ruined it for all of those people. It's like, are you kidding me? Nobody could tell. Not a million years. And the one who's vegetarian, hers is not for any textural or flavor reasons. It's that somebody got her to clue in on farm to table concept, or from start to finish. And so it wasn't necessarily a cruelty thing per se, but yeah, I guess she saw how lobster was made one day and that was it. No more meat proteins of any kind, including fish. Okay, that's not quite true. She'll do eggs, provided she is fairly confident they're not fertilized, and she will happily do dairy products like cheeses and stuff. Well, I agree with you to a point. One of the things that Scouts kind of emphasizes is youth-led. So what that, in terms of camp food, means to us is that the generality of the menu is selected by the youth. So so they're the ones that would have said they wanted the sandwiches. Okay? Which would then go on to, so since they wanted the sandwiches, and it was the leaders who chose to add the soup without asking the kids, that it's kind of worth it for the leaders to pick something that the kids might actually possibly maybe enjoy, rather than buying something they know the kids won't like. We have actually in the past had youth that have gotten into fights with their parents and refused to come to camp anymore because of the menu, which is dumb. But at the scout level, they actually have to do their own menu. And what I mean by that is that at the scout level, what the patrol picks as a group, then they have to cook it themselves and they eat it and everything, regardless of, well, within reason, regardless of how it's cooked health-wise. I mean, if it's burnt, then, pardon me, unless it's charcoal, they still have to eat it. Whereas, oh, fertilizer. Oh yeah, no, she's not a vegan. She's definitely not a vegan, so she has no problem with that. But yeah, her family has refused to buy organic, as far as I understand. So there is that, I suppose, for what it's worth. Yeah. It's a weird situation. So anyways, long story made short, was that this whole entire pot got ruined. There was one for her and one, I guess there was one other vegetarian, and it was for religious reasons. So it was kind of, they weren't going to eat the soup because it was for religious reasons. So they had made, what I thought was kind of funny was that, so this is why we had made chicken noodle soup for them, but rather than buying a can, you know, that size, right? No. They bought one of those big fat ones that's probably about this tall, like your coffee cup tall sort of thing, and it is as big as a canister of coffee around. Even though technically only 2 kids were the reason for it. I don't know. So, yeah. Long story made short then, that those kids happily now eat their veggie ramen. And that way we can make them individual packages so that they can't get messed up by other people's food. All right, where are we? I had this side of the wall. See, this is the thing. I was not happy with the way it connected, excuse me, to the tower. Nor was I happy with the way that it connects at the castle end. So generally don't like this section. Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, the one that for whom it's a choice, meaning that it's their choice, not a big foo-for-our religious thing, then I would agree with you that accommodating sometimes is frustrating and not always necessary. I think that particular, if it wasn't for the fact that their father is the group commissioner, I might actually push back. But the fact that they are, I just don't want to deal with that headache. It's just not worth it. Okay, where are we? I'm trying to sort myself out. That's probably the best part of it. So let's see. We are just above the bricks. Okay. So let's go up. Yes, yellow indeed. Shoot. Not really liking the way this looks. And I don't think I have any more actual stone. One of the things by doing 2 different servers is I don't spend enough time AFK doing dumb things that will get me more products. Yeah. All right. That's okay. I've hit the top of the hour, so I have plenty of time to do different things. And we're back in the castle, right? It worked. we'll call it here rather than pushing it through, and I'll figure out what to do with it before the evening. I don't know what server we're going to be on for the evening. It might be this one, it might be the other one, but we do need to mix it up a little bit. But in the meantime, we have Jade on Wednesdays, if I remember correctly, and I'm just going to see what she's up to. She's on Truly Winter, and she's building gear again. I think somebody must have... either she wasn't finished, or she got herself into a hole and had to redo it. But she's up and hasn't been up for very long, so we're going to go see Poodle Pirate. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out this morning. Thank you for listening to my sort of rambling around things. And hopefully we'll get ourselves a little bit more focused soon. So I want to say I appreciate every single one of you. Let's get the raid started, and then we'll say specifics. See how the credit list turned out. Raid drop. Where is this one? Okay. And I need to go custom. For those of you that need that sort of thing, this is the sort of thing you may like. There's the raid emotes if you want them. And we are on our way. I'm off to see the wizardess. Thank you very much for spending your clues, Yellow. I appreciate that. Fantastic Sherlock Fox, thank you for being our mod. I always appreciate that as well. Thank you to Yellow, Bob, Sachet Away, Poodle Pirates, Terrier Darts, Dadcraft73, Jacob Bacon, and Silas. Silas. We will always see you guys again. Wow, surprise, surprise. And this evening we'll be on at 7 p.m. Eastern, so hope to see you then. Have yourselves a fantastic time. Grab the emotes if you need them. I'll see you on the flip side. Bye-bye for now.
Transfer complete.